Hello? Ooh, hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. How's everyone? Good?
Hmm.
Okay.
Doing good. Thank you, Verbal.
Yeah. So today we are going to discuss a very exciting topic, sitting meditation. Hey, and well, since I come to America in year 2008, okay, and then at the temple, either at Sea Light Temple or here in Shine Temple in Austin, I found that a lot of the local people here, they are very interested in sitting meditation. So many people, they come to the temple and they ask for whether we have a meditation class or not. So I guess many Westerners, they equate Buddhism as meditation. And today the topic is sitting meditation. So um, we are very curious how uh, in the Platform Sutra, how they explain sitting meditation and how Venerable Master Xing interpret sitting meditation. So are you ready? Okay. So in the text, this is a very short text in this Platform Sutra. So we're very surprised because whenever we talk about Platform Sutra, we think, well, that issue talk a lot about sitting meditation, but the text is really it's comparatively short uh, with other chapters in this sutra. And briefly speaking, it talks about sitting meditation as not attachment to the mind and not attachment to purity. And it is not inactive. Okay. So again, this is surprise us that um, we oftentimes think about purifying our mind in sitting meditation, in our spiritual cultivation. But here it says not no attachment to purity. Okay, so even though we are on the progress of purifying our mind, but Master Huineng keep on saying that do not attach to purity, even the concept of purity. Okay, and number three is very interesting. He says that sitting meditation is not inactive, and as in our impression about sitting meditation, it's an old monk sitting, crossing the legs, and closing the eyes and not moving. And I think most of us would regard that as a very good achievement in sitting meditation. And but here it says it's not inactive. It's not that you are not moving, and that is a good meditator. So what is that? So this build up a lot of curiosity in us. And here um, it gives us definition about what is 坐禅. Okay, and if you know that in Chinese, then you will see how in the Platform Sutra it uh, explain the Chinese characters individually, and then when you combine it, it may come up with something different. Okay, so sitting, 坐. Okay, this is the title of this chapter. Okay, 坐禅. So sitting It's just like every one of us. We are sitting. Okay? But here it defines 坐, sitting, as one does not give rise to a single thought from wholesome or unwholesome states. Now, isn't that very different from what we understand about sitting? Okay? It is explaining how externally that we does not give rise to a single thought from wholesome or unwholesome states. And Tan means internally one sees unmovable intrinsic nature. Now, we have to pay attention to the term intrinsic nature. Okay? Uh, at the very beginning of the class, we explains in this sutra, he used the term intrinsic nature to describe our Buddha nature or our self nature. Okay? And here it says, one sees unmovable intrinsic nature. So what is that unmovable? Okay? That means inside our mind, we will not be affected by things that happen outside. So the self nature or the Buddha nature or the intrinsic nature by itself, okay, if it is not crowded by the three poisons, it is unmovable. Okay? So 坐禅 here, it's very different from what traditionally we understand as one person sitting on the cushion, crossing legs, close the eyes, right? Okay. So another term that's similar to 坐禅 is 禅定. Okay? What we want out of sitting meditation, okay, we want the result of 禅定, meditation and concentration. And here it explains meditation as one is unattached to form. So that is externally, it is meditation. And internally, what we get is concentration, or one who is undisturbed. Okay, so this is basically how in Platform Sutra it explains the meaning of meditation and concentration. Okay? But perhaps you are still very confused about the definition of the terms. So let's just put it aside and then continue to focus on the final words that in Platform Sutra, it concludes the chapter 5, sitting meditation. Sorry. Okay. The title, okay, of the chapter 5 is sitting meditation. And in the final ending paragraph of this text, it says, Huineng speaks to the audience. It says, good Dharma friends, in every thought, see the purity of your inherent nature. Right? Cultivate, practice, and attain Buddhahood. Okay? So this is very important in the Platform Sutra. Good Dharma friends, so you, everyone here in the assembly, in your every thought, okay, please see the purity of your inherent nature, okay? And you have to cultivate, you have to practice, and then it is you, not me, no one else. It is you who through cultivate by yourself, who through practice by yourself, and it is you who will attain Buddhahood. Okay? And this is so important that we have to keep in mind. In practice, we cannot rely on others, okay, to cultivate for us or to practice for us. Okay? If you want to attain Buddhahood, you have to do that by yourself. Okay? So far, this is the important message that I summarize in chapter 5 from the text. Now, here is the the comment the commentary that Venerable Master Xing Yun he he helped us in understanding this chapter. And in the Chinese version of Venerable Master Xing Yun's writing, in total, it gives us 10 important points, but only 6, among 10, only 6 are translated into English. But I think the English version is very well added and very clearly added so that we can be more focused on what Venerable Master Xing Yun want to tell us. Here, first of all, Master Xing Yun would like us to understand what is the objective of Chan. Now, Chan is a Chinese pronunciation of meditation. So in Chinese, we say Chanzong meditation school. Okay, our pronunciation is Chan, but maybe you are more familiar with the English term Zen, right? Z-E-N. Okay? And that is the that is the Japanese pronunciation of the Chinese character Chan. Okay? And probably the English world, especially in the States, were influenced by Daisetsu Suzuki, okay, in the 60s, 1960s, okay. But it's okay. Yeah, in this Platform Sutra, the English version of this Platform Sutra, we use Chan, okay, instead of Zen. Okay. So whenever you read articles, English articles with the term Chan instead of Zen, and 100% I would say that it is translated from Chinese Buddhist scholars writing. Okay, so what is the objective of Chan? It is to see our intrinsic nature. It is to be liberated from the cycle of birth and death. And it is to become a Buddha. Right? It is also very important that we have to pay attention to this objective of Chan, because many people, as what I said at the beginning of the class, they come to a Buddhist monastery and then asking for learning meditation. But mainly, majority of these people, they are not seeking to become a Buddha. And they are not seeking to see their intrinsic nature. And probably they had never thought of and never understand what is the cycle of birth and death. Okay? Many people, they come to learn meditation is for reducing their pressure and to be relaxed. Okay? So as a Buddhist student, now you register for this class, it is important, okay, that the objective of Chan ultimately we want to see our Buddha nature or intrinsic nature, and we don't want to be falling into the cycle of birth and death, life after lives. And then we are seeking for fully enlightenment, just like the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha. Okay. Okay. So far, so good. Let me see your face. Okay. You have any questions? If no questions, then I continue. Now, of the 6 important points has been, which are translated into the English version of this, the rabbit's horn. The first point is translated as how to meditate. So if you want to learn the meditation, this is a very good chapter for you to study because it teaches how to meditate. How do you uh, cross your leg and then to adjust your physical body, and then how did you um, cultivate your uh, breath in meditation. Okay, so I don't want to go deep into that part. Your meditation class teacher, I think Venerable Manguang, in her meditation class, she must have taught you about that. So I will skip that part. But here, uh, at the very beginning, Venerable Master Xing Yun says that meditation is not in the meditation room. It's not limited to that image of crossing your leg, close your eyes, and then sitting there not moving. It's in the daily life practice. But he also says that it is important and it is a good starting place for beginners to practice meditation, and that is a way to calm the mind. Okay, and so I also personally, also suggest um, all Buddhist students started with meditation, even that's very short period of time. Okay, and it describes that we have a lot of afflictions or obstacles that will prevent us from um, getting into that concentrative meditation state. So here are the 5 contemplations that we can learn. And say, for example, on this slides, we have desires, okay? We want more than what we need. And we have emotions such as anger, hatred, and we don't understand a lot of things happen in the world, and therefore we suffer from that. And we are easily get distracted when we sit, and sometimes we just don't know why that uh, we we are so negative or so passive to things that happen around us. So the in the old days, in ancient times, already the great meditation masters, they have come up with the 5 contemplations to help us to get rid of all these kind of uh, afflictions that would that becomes an obstacles in our meditation practice. So, for example, contemplate on the impurity of our physical body, and that would help us to get rid of the excessive desires. Okay? And then if we, a person of easily get angry, then cultivate compassion. Okay? And then the understanding of causes and conditions that would help us in uh, getting rid of our ignorance. And if we easily get distracted, then uh, we can count our breath, right? And then contemplation on the Buddha, the the brightness of the Buddha, the virtue of the Buddha, for example, and that is an antidote to our karmic obstacles. And that is the part that I mentioned. Sometimes we don't know why, but we are very negative in um, in seeing things that happened around us, or we sometimes not knowing why certain people they are not friendly to us, and this I would categorize that as this is the karmic result that we have done maybe in our past lives, but we don't know that. So in that case, the contemplation of the Buddha can help us. Okay? So these are the 5 contemplations that we can use when we practice meditation. So that is the first part that Venerable Master Xing he introduced us the technique of meditation, and there are ways to help us to uh, to find the antidote to our afflictions. And the second part is the illusion of the mind. Our mind is very changeable, very impermanent, and that is why there is a quote that it says that one single thought can contain 10 Dharma realms. So what are the 10 Dharma realms? This is the Buddhist idea of all the beings living in the universe. So already we know the 6 realms, the cycle of our rebirth. So we have the starting from the lowest realm, that is the hellish realm, and then the animal realm, the hungry ghost realm, and the human realm, then the asura realm, the heavenly beings. So in total, there are 6. And above these 6, there are 4 other realms, which we call the sagely realm. That is the Aha realm, the Pajapka Buddha realm, or the Lonely Buddha realm, and the Bodhisattva realm, and the Buddha realm. So all these 10 realms were beings of different ranks, okay, that they will be there. That that is the whole beings in the whole universe. And imagine that one single thought, okay, that you can go to all these different realms. You don't have to wait until your next life. Okay? Say, for example, now I'm giving a Dharma talk, and then I feel very happy, just like the heavenly beings. So that one thought of, man, I'm very happy, then it is like in the heavenly realm. Okay, but in another moment, maybe someone get me angry, and then I will fall down into the animal realm or the hellish realm. Okay, so your thought like that can be up and down in all the 10 realms just within seconds of thought. Okay? And so it describes it is very difficult to find our mind, okay? Because it's you cannot touch it and you cannot see it and then you cannot stay it in one spot. Okay, so uh, their Master Singing gives different examples. It says just like a person riding on an ox, and then the person is looking for an ox. Okay, that already the ox is his rider, but still he is uh, looking outside for that ox. And then it is also like a sword that it described as that you are riding on a ship, and you the sword was dropped down to the ocean, and then you want to find that sword. Then the foolish people making a mark on the ship, and then thinking that he can find the sword from the spot. Okay, but the sword already dropped down to the ocean. Of course, cannot find the sword. And then also like a person looking into the mirror, and then a person is seeking to find the head, his own head, in the mirror, and that's impossible, right? And it is also like uh, this moon, the reflection of the moon in the river, and the foolish person trying to scoop up the moon from the river. And of course, it's impossible. So, giving all these examples to describe how difficult it is to find the mind. Okay? And the third one is not judging others. So, in another term in English, we say that don't be judgmental. Okay? So that is the main idea here, that a person who cultivate meditation, right, or cultivate who has the achievement of concentration of the mind, right, you must be non-judgmental to be able to have that concentrative state of mind. So it is, okay, in Venerable Master Xingyin's comment, he says that it is to incorporate Chan into our thoughts and attitudes. So Chan is not only in that inactive sitting meditation state, it is in our daily life that we must incorporate Chan in our thoughts, in our thinking, and in our way of speaking, in our way of dealing with people, in our way of uh, managing our work, etc. Right? So it is Chan is inseparable with our daily life. So that is why second point, it says Chan becomes a part of our life. And then it keeps on giving us the 8 mental qualities to purify the mind and our perspective. So what are the 8? Okay, evenness, meaning that you treat everyone equally. Okay, and then you must have kindness and compassion, and you must be inclusive, embracing, or magnanimity, and then open your mind, openness with pragya, wisdom, and then with gratitude and willing to help others, and then appreciation. Okay, so all these are very important, and I hope you spend more time in reading this part, um, because though it says it is mental qualities, but um, it is not in your mind. You have that kind of mindset, then you apply that in your real life, in daily life. Okay. So, for example, appreciation. Uh, Venerable Master Xing says that whether people smile at you or frown at you, then you have to appreciate that with a mind of gratitude, okay, to accept it. And personally, I also think that is very, very important. Now, number 4, it talks about internal and external. Because from the definition of sitting and meditation, 坐禅 or 禅定, meditation and concentration. Okay? It talks a lot, it use the internal and external idea to explain that in appearance, what is meditation, and then inside us, in our self nature, what is meditation or Chan. Though he keeps on saying internal and external, but ultimately we should combine these two together. So there is no difference outside and inside. So talking about outside and inside, here is a very interesting story, and I don't know whether you remember that or not. It's a dialogue between a monk and a government official, right? And it started with a question. So if a person raised a goose, but at the very beginning, he put a tiny small baby goose inside a bottle, and the neck of the bottle is very narrow. So the question is how to get the goose out of that narrow neck bottle. Okay, now I would like to hear from you if you have prepared for the class. Okay, now you can unmute yourself. How to get the goose out of the bottle? Anyone would like to try? Okay.
Break the bottle.
And probably if you break the bottle, you would hurt. The goose would get hurt.
Not if you were gentle.
But the narrow, the bottle neck is very, very narrow, right? What are some other ways to get the goose out of the bottle? The layperson, the government official, he says he could not find the answer. He says very difficult how to get the goose out of the bottle. Okay, the body is too big, the bottleneck is too narrow. So what did the monk do? Who remember in the story? Okay, Pei Ping. Okay.
The monk say the goose represent our mind and the bottle represents our body. So in order to liberate, so we practice Chan or meditation. It's just a metaphor.
Metaphor.
Yeah, it's just a metaphor. That's it.
Yeah, I know that it's a metaphor, but who remember what did the monk do when the layperson says, I cannot get that, I don't know how to do, and then what did the monk do? Do you remember? The monk calling the layperson's name. Okay, and his name is Lu Gen. And then upon hearing the monks calling his name, okay, the layperson says yes, and then the monk says, "You are already out, aren't you?" Okay, do you remember that? Okay, it's on page 149. Okay, and this is very interesting. I feel that it's very inspiring, interesting, and inspiring. So, of course, we know that the goose in the bottle, it's a it's just a metaphor, okay? But how the monk, okay, making use of this example to let the layperson, 路更, to understand that the goose is already out, okay? Anyone would like to try? Okay. Remember, let me give you a hint. This is in the section talking about internal and external. What is outside and what is inside? Uh-oh, now everyone is still inside. I need to get you out. Aina! Aina didn't, not yet coming out. Okay. Uh-oh. Anyone would like to try? The mask, the monk. Okay, Aina.
Yeah. What I was thinking of is the part of this chapter that meant the most to me was looking at meditation and concentration, and right. How and now I can't find my notes. Okay, that we get attached to form, and we put ourselves in a bottle.
Mm.
And in my thinking, there is no bottle. The bottle is a thought of the mind. It's that attachment to form, and when we don't attach to form, then we're not in that bottle. So I look at it also metaphorically that you know, fact is, if that bottle is there, you know, the breaking out is the liberation or the awakening, is the way I see it.
Right. Okay. Now let's see. Now each one of us here, we have a body and we have the mind, right? In Buddha's teaching, it says the person is nothing but mind and body. And if you further break the mind into subcategories, then that will be the four aggregates of the term five aggregate, right? So a person is made of mind and body, but you know, when I say that, for example, Daniel, I cannot see your mind. I see your face, but I cannot see your mind, meaning that I only look at you from the body, physical form. And then when I say I cannot see Daniel's mind, meaning that I think the mind is inside Daniel so that I cannot see it with my naked eyes. Okay, so here I see some of your faces, then I think your mind is inside your physical body, so that I say, oh, it's very difficult to see your mind. And so the monk here, his name is, in this story, his name is Master Nanquan. And he wants to break the the government officials the thinking, right? The wrong understanding of the mind. The mind is not inside and not outside your physical body, right? And that physical body is just like that bottle, right? Right. And so how to get the mind out? The mind is just like the goose, right? And we think that we cannot get the mind out. It's because it's inside our physical body, but it is not. Okay? Say, for example, my mind now is inside me, but also flying to your places. Okay, when I look into the screen. So the monk calling the layperson's name, and the layperson says yes. And then when the answer yes comes out, that mind is also out, right? Yes, because that responding to a calling outside. Okay, so it is just like the goose inside a bottle, metaphorically, that the goose already coming out of the bottle. Is that okay so far? Okay, you nod your head and let me know you are also out of that narrow neck bottle. Okay.
Shifu, Shifu, I
Yes.
think
Mm-hmm.
the image is so disturbing.
Right. It's really
the animal
disturbing.
is trapped. You know, the animal is trapped, and
Uh-huh.
I feel I want to rescue it. So I'm very distracted by this image. So I think
Right.
maybe that's getting in the way of me understanding.
Right. You have to jump out of your thinking box and then
Yes.
understand that the monk is really not talking about a real goose inside that bottle. It's the mind being trapped inside your physical body. Okay? And if you really realized the relationship between the mind and the body, then um, it will be easier for you to understand that our mind is everywhere in the world. Okay, it's not limited by this physical body. Okay.
So if we break our limited concept of the body, that's shattering the bottle, and we're
You're
then
right.
out.
Right, you got it.
He's determined to that bottle.
What? So, sorry, Aina, what did you say?
Also, is that this is a vase. Yeah, that what I was thinking also is that this vase or bottle has a very narrow neck, and that in many ways is what our consciousness and the aggregates do to us. We narrow the neck.
Yes, it restricts us in terms of the concept that we define ourselves with.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not like a bowl, you know, where we can freely be in and out, and not be freed from those
Right.
desires and those constraints.
Already, the Venerable Master Xing says that we are all Buddhas to be, right? Okay, so the bottle is that which confines the the activity of our mind, right? And we think the mind thinks that it can only um, act, operate inside a bottle, right? But if you developed your potential, right, then you can become someone very great, someone of high talent. Okay, so it's a very important that we all have that potentiality to become a fully enlightened being. Okay, so next. Okay, and this is another very interesting dialogue between two persons, okay? And then one person, A, says to B, okay? A says that you don't look like a human being, and B become very angry. And how come you say that uh, I I don't look like a human being? It's an insult. And the A says that no, I'm praising you. You don't look like a human being. You look like a Buddha. And that B, because in his practice, he is very strict, very disciplined, and the uh, the A in his daily life, he just very lax, right, and not very disciplined, and so he's he's using this dialogue, the A and B dialogue, is uh, to let us know that we we also our thinking is also limited, okay, by our thinking box, okay. When someone says that, oh, you don't look like a human being, then we think that you must be insulting me. Okay? I don't look like a human being. But we never thought of that, oh, not like a human being, but like a Buddha. So it's a praise. So the language can be very misleading. Okay? And sometimes I think we also learn that in our daily life, sometimes uh, we get angry easily because someone says uh, that we are not uh, no good in certain ways, and it is not necessary to respond to this kind of speech, okay? As long as we have confidence in ourselves, who we are, okay? And then we can also from this example, we can always think positively about whichever uh, bad languages that people say to us. Okay, if we can transform our thinking, then we won't get angry so easily. Okay, the movable mind, number 5. Okay, at the very beginning, and then I explained in the text, it says that meditation or Chan is not inactive. Okay, so this is also a very important concept that the Platform Sutra want to deliver to the meditation students. Okay? It says that we have to create a mind that is unmoved by circumstances. Okay? And very difficult for most of us. So therefore, he give example of do not take affliction to bed, meaning that if you get disturbed today, but when you go to bed tonight, do not take all these worries, anger to your sleep. Okay, you just sleep when it's time to go to sleep. And then do not take hatred into tomorrow because tomorrow is a brand new day. And do not spread worries to others. Okay. What do you think about all this? Okay. To create such a mind that is unmoved by circumstances. We all live in all these kind of environment, surroundings. We are very easily disturbed by people who live with us or people who work with us, right? And then, so in talking about meditation and concentration of the mind, um, if we are so easily affected by our surroundings, it will be very difficult for us to uh, to have a good meditation experience to calm our mind. So what do you think? Is that easy? This looks like a very simple words, simple advice, but very difficult to apply to our daily practice. What do you think?
I think this is where we look at meditation as not being inactive, because we are making the effort to set aside the afflictions before we go to bed. We're making an effort to, we're actively setting aside the hatred and not carrying it into tomorrow. And we're actively not spreading worries to others.
Right.
I have some issue with this. That, and probably it's because of my former life as a therapist, that there are times when you need to share the worries in order to understand them and receive and then be relieved of them. And that's really the focus of chaplaincy and a lot of the work that is done by whether it's a counselor, spiritual counselor, or a monastic, that we need to make sure that we find a way of getting beyond the worry. And sometimes getting beyond the worry is to share it to get a view of that worry.
I know. I think what this is saying really is not to spread the worries to others. It doesn't mean we shouldn't share them. It's just we shouldn't make other people worried over things that we're worried about.
Okay, all right, that gives a different perspective. Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
Right. But sometimes I also feel that when we talk to our friends about our worries, um, it's we may be not aware of that, but we are spreading our worries to our very close friends. Okay, so what we need to cultivate ourselves is that instead of spreading worries or talking about our worries to others, um, you know, one of the way in the Buddhist college when we teach the novice monastic is that we know that they have a lot of worries, um, especially feeling that they are not good enough to be a good monastic. So we advise them to go to the Buddha, go to the Guanyin Bodhisattva, to prostrate, to do to recite the mantras, to recite the Buddha's name, and my master also encouraged us to do that. It's because you are saying your worries to another human beings. Um, Maybe you still cannot get your worries, get rid of your worries. But if you say to the Buddha, okay, because of the virtue of the Buddha, okay, and it may help you to calm down your mind. But I think that will be under the condition that you understand the virtue of the Buddha, the 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 vow of the Buddha. Then you can respond. You can communicate with the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Well, you may not agree what I say, but this is one of the ways. One of the ways.
Yeah, I don't agree.
Okay. Next. Ooh. Okay. And that the story about a bad-tempered person, a manager, who want to remind himself that he shouldn't get angry so easily. So he put a wooden plate around his neck and then describe saying it says refrain from anger, meaning that you have to control your temper to not get angry. And one day he overheard one of his staff saying that, oh, our manager is a good person, very good in doing a lot of things, but okay, that but kills everything. The but is, but he easily got anger. He's a very bad tempered person. And that manager, upon hearing that and then holding that wooden staff and then crash on the head of that person, saying that he's a bad tempered person. So that this example tells that controlling our temper is very important. We shouldn't be afflicted by our surroundings, even though just few words. We should know how to take care of that. Okay. And then the example of the bird, magpie and crow. The crow, because of the ugly voice, that he want to change his place and flying all over to find new place. But the magpie says that if you don't change your voice, wherever you go, people will dislike you. And this tells us that we should change ourselves, okay, instead of changing the surroundings, right? And that is a very important teaching that when we feel unhappy about things, about people around us, the best solution is to change ourselves, okay? Because it is very difficult to change others. Anyone disagree? Okay. Running out of time, you must agree. the last part, last point is time sickness. Now here, my master says that koan tan, and because stories, and then parrot tan means that you just copy what is said in the koan stories, and that doesn't mean that you really got the meaning of that koan. So you're only talking about that, and it says that time should not be just idle sitting or just talking about the koan, but people really enjoy just talking about koan. So the story between the two young novices, okay, that they have to go to, they come from different monastery, different temples, and one is smart and one is not so smart. So one day, the smart novice come across the other monk. So the less clever novice asks, "Where are you going today?" And the smart novice says, "I will go where my legs go." Right? And the less smart novice didn't know how to reply that. So he going back to his temple and asked his master. The master says, "Oh, you're foolish. You are so stupid. You just ask. So if your legs cannot go anywhere, then where are you going?" Okay, then the less smart novice keep in mind. So the next day, when he again come across that smart novice and ask, "So where are you going today?" And then the smart novice says that, "I will go wherever the wind blows, wherever the wind goes." And the less smart novice, again, didn't know how to reply it and asking his master when he go back home. And the master says, "Oh, you're very stupid. You just, next time he give you the answer, you just replied, 'So if the wind doesn't blow, so where are you going to?'" Right? So the following day, they meet again. Then the less smart novice asks, "Where are you going today?" The smart novice replied, I'm going to the market. Okay, every time the same question, but every time the smart novice give him a different answer. So, and the less smart novice couldn't answer that. So what is it? Why? And what does that story tell us? And how do we learn from the story? Anyone would like to try? If if you were if you were the less smart novice, okay, how would you learn from this? Okay, it gives us only 3 dialogues, right?
Shifu, I don't think I would win. I would win in these exchanges. I would not win.
You will not win.
No.
Okay. Who think that you will outsmart that novice, that smart novice? Okay. If that smart novice says that I'm going, the third dialogue, I'm going to the supermarket. So how are you going to outsmart that novice? If you were the less clever novice, and then you're going back to your master and ask, what would you, if you were the master, what would you give advice to you to answer?
Shifu, I just don't know. I just don't. It feels like a competition between these two, and I just don't understand it.
You don't understand that. Okay, so the smart novice is very flexible. Okay, he is not giving a fixed answer to the same question, and he is not memorizing the answer to a question. But a lot of times we memorize question without knowing what's the meaning, what's the real answer of that, that what we answered. Okay, I remember when I studied in Taiwan when I was little, I didn't know actually why I give answer to that question. But since if I answer that I can get a good mark, then why not? But I seldom really dig it deep into that answer. Okay, the less clever novice is like that. He's not thinking too much about the answer that his master gave to him. And that's why when he comes upon encounter a different situation, he didn't know how to respond to that. Okay? But how's that applying to our daily life practice? In our daily life, we have a lot of different situations, right? We, as a monastic at a temple, we come across different kind of visitors. And if I only prepare one set of answers, and what if they ask me different questions about the temple? Okay, so I have to prepare to fully understand about this temple to answer the visitor's question. And like that, in your daily life as a lay, I believe you must have come across a lot of thousands and thousands of different questions, even from your kids, okay, little uh, children or grandchildren. Okay, so how are we going to answer all these questions? Then wisdom is very important. Pragya wisdom, right? Okay.
And I think, Venerable, it's also that we have to deeply listen to what the question is or what the need is, or we do a one size fits all. I find that sometimes in classes where I might ask something and it's like a textbook answer. You know, it's a line from the book, but there's not thought. So
right.
it's important, I think, to push to think on many different levels, because these are just words. That this is
Right.
this is not the mind being active.
And sometimes we respond to things without really understanding what the question was, because we respond with sort of a rote answer that we have learned or memorized, and we have to listen and truly understand what's being asked so that we can respond appropriately with wisdom.
Right. What is a very famous question asked in meditation retreat is meditate on what is your original face. And then we got misguided by the term face, F-A-C-E. Okay, so we try to find an easy answer, but we failed. So you can keep meditate on that. And
you're back in the bottle.
You have to shatter the bottle or just break it. Okay, the last one is the koan story. The story about the monk and an old person asking the airport monk. So if you are a highly cultivated person, and are you still subject to cause and effect? And of course, from the story, we understand that the old person actually was a wild fox, and for 500 lives, he was born as the animal, a wild fox. It's because long time ago, he, as a monk, he answered to a student's question, the same question, and then he says that if you are a highly cultivated person, you are not subject to cause and effect. Okay, and because of that wrong answer, he was born as a wild fox for 500 lives. How terrible that is. When I learned that story, I'm afraid of teaching Dharma. Buddha bless me. Okay. So the airport monk in that temple answering to this old person, he says that you should answer that as, even though you are a highly cultivated person, you cannot escape from cause and effect, because that is the law of the world. Okay? You cannot escape from that. And I think even though nowadays Buddhist teaching is very popular, but still some Buddhists regarded that a highly cultivated person is not subject to cause and effect. And so therefore we should all keep in mind, because of that, we have to be careful in our daily life, practice in speaking, in doing things, even though that's a joke, okay, that you shouldn't joke to make people suffer, for example. Otherwise, that would cause us very serious cause and effect. Especially when you are a better cultivated person, okay? And if you still make that kind of mistake in causing people suffer, then the karmic result could be very serious. Okay, and upon hearing that, the old person thanks the abbot monk and going back to the mountain cave. And the next day, the abbot monk guided his disciples to find the dead body of a wild fox, meaning that that old person, the one who asked the question, he already out of the bad karma of that answering a wrong question. But think about that, already 500 lives. Okay, so reading this story, we should all be careful about how we answer to people's question. Okay, if you give a wrong answer, and that comic result could be very terrible. Okay, that is the main ideas that I would like to share with you today about the chapter 5, sitting meditation. You can continue to meditate on the Quran story about that goose in the battle. Enjoy the Quran story. Next chapter is about repentance. Okay. And that is also a topic. Personally, I'm very interested in that. And I would like to discuss that with you next week, next Friday. So hope you enjoy the class today. And then I wish you be happy and peaceful and in your study and your daily life. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Shifu. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Sifu.
you. Good night. Take care.
Bye.
Beautiful.